When people think of Henry Ford, they think of motion. Factories, assembly lines, noise, speed. They imagine power measured in output. But power doesn't always live where it's loud. Sometimes, it lives where decisions slow down. Along the Rouge River, away from Detroit's streets, Henry Ford lived not inside a monument, but inside a system. A place designed not to impress, but to think. Not a palace, not a showroom, not a public symbol. This was Fairlane. And if you want to understand how Henry Ford actually lived, how he separated performance from control, this house tells you more than any factory ever could. Welcome back to Homes of Michigan. This series isn't about size for its own sake. It's about intention, why homes were built, how they were used, and what they reveal when no one was watching. Fairlane is one of the most important homes in Michigan history, not because it's extravagant, but because it shows how one of the most influential men in the world chose to live privately. And just as importantly, how Clara Ford shaped that world. By the early 1910s, Henry Ford had already altered modern life. The Model T was in production. Mass mobility was real. Detroit was transforming at an industrial pace. But the city was also becoming louder, denser, and more mechanical. Henry and Clara Ford did not want their private life to mirror their public empire. They wanted privacy, land, control, space to think. So they acquired property in Dearborn, then still semi-rural along the Rouge River. This was not escape. It was intentional retreat, a deliberate separation between public power and private life. Construction on Fairlane began in 1913 and was largely completed by 1915. Unlike many industrial titans of the era, Henry Ford did not commission a single celebrity architect. Instead, he assembled a team, and that choice mattered. Ford believed systems mattered more than individuals, and the house reflects that belief. The architecture blends English manor traditions, arts and crafts sensibilities, and early prairie-style thinking. The goal was balance. Fairlane was designed to feel solid, but not imposing. Elegant, but not ornamental. Substantial, but human. This was never meant to be a palace. It was meant to be a working home. If the house is the body of Fairlane, the land is its philosophy. For the landscape, the Fords turned to Jens Jensen, one of the most influential landscape architects in American history. Jensen rejected European formalism. He believed landscapes should follow natural contours, use native plants, encourage reflection, and feel timeless. At Fairlane, he created sweeping meadows, long sightlines, quiet woodland paths, and spaces woven into the Rouge River itself. At its height, the estate encompassed more than 1,300 acres. The river wasn't scenery. It was infrastructure. It was power. It was belief. Fairlane is large, but it never announces itself. The house contains over 50 rooms, more than 30 fireplaces, multiple libraries, formal and informal living spaces. guest quarters, and extensive service areas. Instead of one massive ballroom, the home is divided into human-scaled rooms. Movement through Fairlane is gradual, measured, intentional. This is architecture designed to be used, not admired from a distance. Inside Fairlane, materials speak quietly. Hand-laid brick and stone, wood paneling, built-in cabinetry, fireplaces anchoring nearly every room. Nothing glitters. Nothing competes for attention. Fireplaces weren't excess. They were gathering points, anchors of domestic life, symbols of permanence. Even unused, they communicate stability. This is where Fairlane becomes extraordinary. Henry Ford didn't just live here. He experimented here. Along the Rouge River, Ford built a private hydroelectric powerhouse. Water-powered turbines that generated electricity, supplied the home, and allowed the estate to function independently. This wasn't luxury. It was ideology. Ford believed energy should be local, renewable, and practical. Fairlane was a home, a laboratory, and a proof of concept, all at once. Despite its scale, Fairlane was not a party house. Daily life here was restrained. The Fords walked the grounds. They read. They hosted small gatherings, and they listened to music. Clara Ford was an accomplished pianist. Music mattered here. This was a home built for rhythm, not spectacle. To understand Fairlane, you must understand Clara Ford. She valued comfort over display, music over status, stability over attention. She shaped the interior atmosphere, the calm, the warmth, the livability of the house. Henry built systems. Clara built atmosphere. Fairlane is the balance of both. After the Fords, Fairlane did not disappear. Today, the estate is preserved at a historic site, operated by the University of Michigan Dearborn, and used for education and public tours. The house still functions, just differently. Fairlane tells us something rare. One of the most powerful men in modern history did not live loudly. He lived intentionally. This home is not about wealth. It is about control, experimentation, balance, and long-term thinking. Fairlane whispers, where other homes shout. And that is why it endures. I'm Chris Hubble. This is Homes of Michigan, and this is Fairlane.